Pizza Jaffa's orange grows. Microchips is us. iPhone cameras us. Taco salads us. Vamos us. Olive Garden us. White phosphor us. Sabra Hamas. Hezbollah us.
Hello, everybody, and Happy New Year, and welcome to Bad Hasbara.
Fresh and most moral for 2026, you suckers!
Hell yeah. My name is Matt Lieb. I will be your most moral co-host for this year.
Whoa, a year is a long time.
I know.
Realized.
I don't know why. Starting off the year by committing to another year of this shit.
Good God. My name is Daniel Mate, and in the now,
let's stay present.
In this moment, which is all that we have, I am your other most moral co-host.
That's right.
Of the world's most moral podcast.
Yes, we are so excited to have y'all here for another year of just the worst news you've ever heard, and occasionally a funny AI video. Thank you to everyone who has continued to watch, liked, subscribed. Thank you to all of our patrons who are not, screaming at us in the private chat or in the DMs about the fact that we took 2 weeks off to have a little break. It's
hell no, they're shrieking for joy. They love sharing and sharing alike.
I love that. They
love that we released 3 Patreon episodes
I know.
to the public.
They were happy about it, and I was like, okay, cool.
That's called, I think, from what I know from the poly scene, which I'm not really in, but I've come across some people. That's called compersion. When you take pleasure in your partner's pleasure. So you take pleasure in the bounty being shared with others.
I like that there's like a really sweet sounding word for enjoying watching someone cuck you. It's not cuck if you're poly, I guess. A lot of people come across things in the poly scene. Yeah, that's true. All sorts of things, good and bad. Shout out to producer Adam Levin. He is here with us on the ones and twos, as always, in the lower thirds, talking trash about the very podcast he produces. And I love it. Give us 5 stars and review. You know the drill.
Thank you for getting us past the 50K mark.
Yeah,
on
we're
YouTube,
at 50,000. I can't believe it.
50.2, I think.
Yeah, nothing has changed with me emotionally because of this information. I feel the same, which is unfortunate. I thought it would fix things. But nope. Still have to do everyday activities. I'm wearing a Sedona hat because my hair is a little too wild for my own liking. I like that you are going au natural
for now. Yeah. I might decide that this mop is too unruly.
I like it. It's the mad scientist look. Go to badhasbara.com if you are interested in our one T-shirt that we have. I believe we have 2. We have 2 designs of T-shirt. So go do that. If you are not a patron, patreon.com/badhasbara. You can join now, and you can get a year-long subscription if you would like. And you'll be with us for the year.
And you don't have to wait 4 months you don't need to wait 4 months to hear from the likes of Miko Peled.
Exactly. You could have
we released that episode, but you could have listened to it back when it was relevant.
That's right. Right. Now it is irrelevant. No, it stays relevant.
Because Zionism has ended and justice has broken out.
You know what I love about this podcast concept? Evergreen. Today's episode is brought to you by GazaFunds.com. GazaFunds.com is a rotating carousel of crowdfunding campaigns from individuals and families in Gaza, raising money for rebuilding, resettlement, medical, and other personal expenses. If you want to donate directly to people affected by Israel's genocide in Gaza, this is a wonderful resource for people who are looking to directly donate their money to a family, as opposed to different organizations that are on the ground. A lot of those organizations that we've shouted out before are being criminalized now. And this is, obviously going to, it's going to take a lot of us figuring out where to send money to in order to make sure that people in Gaza are getting the help that they require. But Gaza Funds is a good place to go if you want to donate directly to people. So do it. Do that. It is worth more than getting an extra episode of the world's stupidest podcast every week. But you should also get the world's stupidest podcast every week. Daniel, new
What's
year,
up, homie?
new Jew. What's the spin?
Wow, man, it's been a couple of weeks since we did this, so I apologize. I got a bit of a stack here.
No.
But
I mean, yay.
I'm gonna go. No, I'm gonna go super quick.
Okay.
But it is the new year, so I started with songs themed around the new year. The Breeders' Last Splash starts with a song called New Year.
Yeah.
I got an album by the queer disco legend Sylvester. Why did I choose Sylvester? Because actually in Israel, they call New Year's, December 31st, Silvester. I think it's the feast of Saint Sylvester. So it's like a Christian reference. Because they can't say Rosh Hashanah, because that's
right.
Other songs and albums with years in the title. Summer of 69 by Bryan Adams off the album Reckless.
I thought that was Bowie.
Rush 2112. Deltron 3030.
Okay.
Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
These are like years. Now we're doing years.
Now we're doing years. Yeah,
I like that.
Talking Head 77. Dr. Dre 2001.
Oh, yeah.
2001.
Hell yeah.
I've got Bone Thugs E1999 on the shelf,
Eternal.
but we've already done that one. So never mind. Of course,
a reefer sending me straight to heaven.
It's the 5th of the month.
We gonna get paid by Patreon.
1999 by Prince.
Okay.
1984 by Van Halen.
Okay.
And two more. There's
1979 by Smashing Pumpkins. It's not an album, but it's a good song.
No, that's coming.
There's
a group called the 1975, a millennial group that I quite like.
I know them.
They're quite good.
I know of them, which
and
is
this is
rare
their
for
album,
me.
A Brief Inquiry into Online Relationships. 1975, the year I was born, and I like this band quite a lot. The kids are all right. And finally, like you said, Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness, Smashing Pumpkins box set with the song 1979.
I love it. I love it.
That's my fat stack. It'll be less fat next time, I promise.
Hell yeah. Keep on spinning in the new year. So those are what's spinning for all of you 2026ers out there who are listening. I say that because I assume some people will listen in 2027 and years after. Before we get started to introduce our guest, we have to do something.
Yeah.
A clarification of sorts.
We don't often do this.
No, we don't.
We don't usually hold ourselves to a journalistic standard. Because we can get away with a lot because we're a comedy podcast and stuff. But sometimes,
I mean,
clarifications and corrections are in order.
As someone who is an accidental award-winning journalist, as some of you may know, I worked for AJ Plus, and we did get an award. What was it called? Society of Professional
clearly meant
Journalists.
a lot to you.
Yeah, no, I mean, I have it. It's like it's on my wall behind me somewhere. But yes, I am an award-winning journalist somehow, and I need to live up to the standards that are accidentally expected of me. So our last episode of Bad as Bara was, of course, about the Canadian podcaster Jesse Brown, and much to my surprise, it turns out he was listening to the episode, and he took umbrage with some misinformation that I spread.
I think he's low-key a Patreon member.
Listen.
I think he's got a sock puppet account.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if he's a Patreon member, I would just encourage him to subscribe for the full year, because for the full year, not only do you get a discount, but you get a year's worth of wonderful bonus content. Anyways, he thought that I had implied that he would never be willing to come on Bad Has Bara.
Is that because you said that?
Well, sort of. This is what was said right here. I'm not entirely against. Maybe. Well, never mind. I was going to say talking to Jesse Brown, but I don't think he'll want to talk to us after today. So that is what I said. I'm not entirely against. Maybe. Well, never mind. And so what followed after that was a back and forth between Daniel and Jesse, in which you in which he informed us that he was willing to come on, and he's unafraid to come on. And Daniel had clarified that this is a comedy show and not a debate show. And you even offered to have a conversation with Jesse, like on a different YouTube channel. We could talk to him on your YouTube channel or on his show. Happy to do that.
Yeah, I tried to explain that Matt was being glib because that's all Matt knows how to do.
Yeah, Matt Glib. You know,
Matt Glebe.
Matt Glebe, exactly. But he essentially ignored that offer and instead insisted that we clarify his position and our position.
I did offer to clarify. To be fair, I did offer.
Yes,
and
you offered.
He took us up on that offer.
Yes, he did. He said, and I'm just reading from the final exchange. Thanks again for the response. I accept your offer to clarify this on your next episode. I'm going to do an impression of him. I know he doesn't sound like this, Jesse. Your voice very low, very booming, but I'm going to make you sound like this. Specifically, Matt's comment that I probably wouldn't be willing to come on the show after the critical episode about me is what requires clarification. I'd like Matt to clarify. Oh, sorry. This inaccurately suggested that I was asked on the show or would be welcome on the show if only I would be willing. Mm-hmm. Okay? I'd like Matt to clarify that this was never the case, that I am in fact willing to come on the show, but you won't have me on. Thanks again for clearing this up. It's a basic matter of honesty.
I like how he's become Wallace Shawn in The Princess Bride.
Yeah.
And in fact, but you invited me on the podcast, and in fact, I never said that I would not come on the podcast. So therefore...
And then he passes out and dies. I think it's a basic matter of honesty to your listeners who you have misinformed. Inconceivable. So that's what he wrote.
We misinform our viewers all the time.
I know. I love the basic matter of honesty that when I said, I'm not entirely against that I should clarify that I am mostly against.
Yeah.
But for the sake of journalistic integrity, I will issue this clarification. If anyone thought that I was implying that Jesse Brown would be too afraid to come on Bad Hasbara, I just want to clarify that, in fact, no. Jesse Brown is not afraid to speak on a podcast. He is no coward. He is brave. The real cowards are the podcasts who won't book him as a guest. The Bad Hasbaras, the Joe Rogans, the Call Your Daddies, the Huck Tuas of the world. Talk to a Jesse Brown, you cowards. Now, some may ask why I will not talk to a Jesse. Now, I could say what we've already told him, which is that we'd be happy to talk to him on another channel. But this is a comedy podcast, and I have a general rule about not booking people who refuse to call this a genocide. It kind of fucks up the comedy. The vibes are off. But in truth, that's only half true. The full truth is that I'm afraid. I'm afraid that Jesse Brown will be too funny. I mean, we're talking about a man who once published a podcast called Pretendians, which called out non-Indigenous people who falsely claimed Indigenous ancestry, and who is now carrying water for a state full of Pretendians. That is too funny. We cannot compete with that. That level of joke is too good, I am afraid. But Jesse wants us to be absolutely clear. He is unafraid to go on podcast. A mere mortal might be afraid to, sure. After 2.5 hours of hearing someone talk shit about you, most people would be shaking and crying, but not Jesse Brown. He loves it. He yearns for it. He welcomes the pain. He gets off on it. Feels good. Oh, you insult me, daddy. Jesse Brown is not a coward. Okay? And I struggle to think of things that Jesse is afraid of, other than like obvious things like anti-Semitism or things that feel like anti-Semitism or things that aren't anti-Semitism. But if you squint, it could be. He is afraid of things that any person would be afraid of, like Hamas, or things that feel like Hamas, or vaguely Hamas-like words like hummus, student protesters or teacher protesters, or parent protesters, people talking about Israel, people asking him about Israel, people asking him again about Israel, his own thoughts about Israel, people learning his own thoughts about Israel. He's afraid of normal stuff like Canadians or Canada Land, his own staff at Canada Land, his former staff at Canada Land, Palestinian human rights, calling something a genocide that the entire international human rights community has called a genocide. Arabic, the language, Arabs, the people, Greeks, probably, Muslims, spiders, snakes, quicksand. Other journalists, Greta Thunberg, Rachel Gilmore, The Creeping Shadow of Death, octopus plushies, octopi, Octopussy from James Bond, Octomom, Octagons, Draculas, and, of course, speaking to Daniel and I on a different podcast. These are all normal things that everyone is afraid of.
Yeah.
But coming on Bad Hasbara, nope, never. The guy is a tank. So I just want to make sure you all know that it's clear that he's the bravest person we've ever talked about.
Matt, that was stunning and brave. Thank you for doing that. It was very vulnerable for you to admit the fear of being shown up by him comedically on this podcast.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I do want to reiterate, like this is not a podcast where we bring on people who fundamentally disagree with the moral framework of everything we do here. The closest we've ever come was inviting someone who was on the very verge of giving up his liberal Zionism forever and ever, and he did so within 5 days of the interview.
That's right.
And even that was a bit of a stretch for us, but it was a worthwhile one.
Yes, I think so too.
In the case of someone who's been running interference for the very genocide we're decrying, we just have nothing to joke about in this space. But I did, like you said, put out an invitation that him and I, or the three of us, either way, because he said he's not afraid of a little 2-on-1. He literally said that.
Wow.
Could do this somewhere else where it wouldn't distract from the puerile idiocy that we're trying to seriously accomplish here.
Right.
And so far, in several email exchanges, Jesse's had not one word to say about that invitation.
I haven't heard back.
I hope he'll respond to that part of my
It's not because he's
email,
afraid,
which
though.
was most of it. No, I don't think it's because he's afraid.
I don't think it's because I think it's a different thing.
Well, look, he demanded satisfaction, and I believe he has been I believe he will be satisfied with this clarification. That was hella journalistic.
You listen. They don't call me an accidental award-winning journalist for nothing.
Correct.
Now we got to bring in our guest, and I'm so excited about our guest. This next guest needs no introduction. I say that as someone who actually watches this show and has watched her on other shows before. She is the co-host of Breaking Points and of Krystal, Kyle, and Friends. Ladies and gentlemen and everyone else, welcome to the podcast, Krystal Ball.
Hi, guys.
Hey,
Hi,
how you
Krystal.
doing?
I'm good. That was fun. Your intro.
Thanks.
I liked it.
Thanks for hanging in there.
Daniel, that Sean Wallace impression was pretty impressive.
I know.
That was not bad.
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, that's actually I'm sending up my little Wallace Shawn Bat signal. We'd love to have him on here. He's been a great advocate for Palestine,
that'd be
Yes,
amazing.
he has.
Yes.
Him and Mandy Patinkin.
Yeah, Mandy
True.
now going for it as well. I feel, Carrie Elwes, or however you pronounce it. Where are you at, dog? Let's get all of the Princess Bride.
What gives, Robin Wright?
Yeah,
Actually, come to think of it, Billy Crystal.
that would be nice. That would be nice.
Have fun storming the separation wall.
Yeah. So Krystal, thank you for coming on. Like I said, I've been a fan of you for a while. I think it was during the lead up to the 2020 Democratic primary that I started watching Rising with you on it. And then after you left Rising, watching you now on Breaking Points. So big fan. Love that
Thank
you're
you.
here.
That's very kind of you. Yeah, that was such a different time. Felt hopeful watching Burning Wind, Nevada. It feels like eons ago.
Right before the whole world just went insane. It was such a moment of hope. And it is gone now.
We were just talking about how we only allow a certain bandwidth of disagreement on this show. I mean, many of our guests disagree with each other, but not here. Because it's a comedy show. But part of what you've made your bones doing is co-hosting a show opposite someone who sees the world in some ways pretty fundamentally differently from you. Has that? I have to say I haven't kept abreast of sort of Sagar's evolution on, or his position towards what's been going on in Israel-Palestine. But how's it been navigating those tensions or those differences, which are usually so productive and so much a part of your brand, frankly, and what makes the show valuable in the past couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's, I do think it's one of the things that people like about the show is that, there are certainly moments of agreement, but there are also moments of like deep philosophical disagreement.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Fortunately, on Israel, we do look at the world differently, but there is enough sort of a shared understanding of reality that topic was not so difficult for us to cover together. And we had our moments because he's very like, he doesn't really believe that international law even should be a thing. He comes at much from the more like realist perspective of we just shouldn't have anything to do with this. I come obviously with more of a like international left human rights perspective. So we've clashed over that and had that battle out. But overall, we're kind of in the same place with regard to Israel and the genocide in Gaza. We have had a debate over the specific use of the word genocide, but in any case, we can put that aside. I think we've had more sort of heated squabbles or disagreements over immigration and with ICE and CCOD. And those have been some of the probably most tense and most difficult moments on the show to work through. But the reason that it works is that Sagar can be persuaded, and he does have a fundamental commitment to like facts and reality, right?
Yeah.
So he's not going to be the guy going out there and sharing the, AI Venezuela video or like buying into the Hasbara. Like if he sees that something is inaccurate, he takes that into his worldview. And so for me, as long as that is the case, then that's someone that you can have a reasonable exchange with. I relate to you guys, though, saying, like, we're not having anyone on who doesn't see it as a genocide. Because obviously, in the context of our show, we do have people on who would not have that view. But I am no longer interested in, like, debating whether it is or whether it isn't. I think if you, at this point, are still looking at everything we've seen and you've lived in this world and you've, watched all of the horror unfolding on your feed every day and you're still arguing that this is all fine and good and moral, like I don't think there's anything productive that you can do with that whatsoever at this point.
Right. Yeah. At that point, it does, to me, it feels like just allowing someone to spout out some denialism that would be time better spent with them and a therapist. Like that's
true. Seriously.
It comes to a point where when you are so divergent in your worldview or in the view of reality, where
in your morality,
in your morality, where you need to argue about the semantics of a genocide, then I'm like, I can't help you with this. If we can't agree on this as a foundation for a conversation, then you can just deny everything. And at that point, what's the point of talking?
I mean, it works with you and Sagar because you're each coming from some first principles that are explicitly stated.
Yes.
Like you're each transparent about these are the fundaments of my worldview. For him, it's individual liberty and America first, or I don't know if he's an American firster, but a certain, focus on what's good for us and let's decouple ourselves from the welfare state or whatever. Okay, those are intelligible first principles, and you have your first principles, right? And then you can take a look at the world through each of your lenses and see how those two views line up and where they don't. If you're debating with a Zionist, it's tough because they don't have any first principles except this country is sacrosanct to me.
Right.
They have, and whatever, and might makes right, essentially. And Jews are permanent victims. They're sectarian, tribalist first principles, and it's not any fun to try and make a show around those kinds of disagreements. So
yeah. That's exactly right. And as one example, like our whole show today was about Venezuela, and you see so many right-wing influencers who 5 seconds ago were like, oh my God, no more forever wars, no more interventions, no more regime change wars. Yes. And then once Daddy Trump does it, then all of a sudden it's like, Greenland's next, let's go, America.
Based.
Right,
yeah.
based. And, that's never like Sagar was like, no, I'm opposed to it then. I'm opposed to it now. I think this is terrible. I think there's horrendous risk here, calling out the people who do change on a dime and have absolutely no principles. So, Daniel, to your point about like him actually having some first principles. Yeah. I mean, you can have an engagement, you can have a battle of ideas, you can cover the news and have a shared reality if you have someone who wants to deal in reality and does have, some sort of philosophical grounding that they stick to.
Yeah. Speaking of Venezuela, you mentioned something about an AI video, and I don't know what exactly you're referring to, but I do have this very real video of people in Venezuela celebrating Maduro's deposition.
El pueblo finalmente está libre. El pueblo llora por su libertad. Gracias a los Estados Unidos por liberarnos. Y viva la libertad.
So this is real, right, guys? Is this Yep. See, this is a real guy.
Oye, el dictador cayó. Finalmente. Estamos libres, estamos libres.
Look at the very real emotion on his face. How could you deny him?
Yeah. What confuses me about the, I don't know, proliferation of AI videos that you see now is like, I understand that there's plenty of hogs out there who will believe, anything that they see.
I'm one of them. I wouldn't have even thought AI if you hadn't pointed it out. Like I'm still very slow on the uptake.
Well, I guess that kind of answers my question, which is like, is anyone with a normal brain actually look at that video and get confused? But I suppose so. And that's a bummer.
Hey man, normal's a myth, I heard.
Yeah, that's right. You wrote a book about that. I want to ask you, Krystal, about Venezuela, because obviously this is the big story going on right now. And we, of course, have pigeonholed ourselves into a podcast not about that. But why not just bring it up anyways? Regarding Venezuela, have you and Sagar talked about this and his positions on it? You were saying, he's against it. Have you seen, I guess, with other liberals, I guess he's not a liberal, but when you talk to liberals, have you noticed a sort of change in the attitude of when they talk about this, where they say things like he was no angel when it comes to any time regime change happens?
There's always a need for a lot of throat clearing about, he's a bad guy. It's like, you can just leave that aside. And to be honest with you, I really think that comes more from like elected Democratic leadership than it does from the base of the party. Because One of the things I'm genuinely hopeful about is I think the base of the party has become much more radical. I think they see that the status quo approach, the sort of negotiation with fascism, I think that they see that failed. Israel-Gaza, I think, has been a major moral dividing line where it's just they have no use anymore for Cory Booker being, AIPAC, I don't know. Why are you focusing on that? I don't know if I can say Netanyahu's a war criminal. Or Gavin Newsom being like, oh, you're asking me about AIPAC? That's interesting. That's interesting that you're asking me about AIPAC, insinuating that his questioner was an anti-Semite, of course.
Yes.
They have no patience for that anymore. So I think they're looking much more for the unvarnished truth as told by people like Graham Plattner, I think has been fantastic. I think Ro Khanna has been fantastic. He has a different sort of style, but he's been very straightforward and hasn't needed to do all the throat clearing about like, well, of course he's a bad guy. And of course we're happy for Venezuela that he's gone, blah, blah, blah. It's like,
we would have been like, we would have liked to have been asked. We would have liked to have been invited to the cool kids party.
You didn't notify us within the appropriate 48 hours. So, look, we would have been on board with it, but, you just didn't come. You didn't follow the rules.
They're like the boss in Office Space. They sidle up to your desk and like, so, yeah.
You didn't file your CPS report.
I'm going to need you to file the CPS report next time you want to invade a sovereign country and abduct its leader. Yeah. So if you could do that, that would be great.
Yeah. And I love that the, Republican Party is just like Milton from Office Space, which is just like, I'm just going to shoot up the office. I'll put strychnine in the guacamole. Like, he's completely.
Never thought of him that way, but it kind of works actually.
Yeah. I mean, so it's interesting seeing these two approaches.
I would like to see the MAGA base be more like Milton. Excuse me. You were supposed to it's supposed to be America first. You said America first. You said no more for it's no. You promised me, and you promised.
I want to ask about that, and I'm sorry for asking about someone else's opinion, but when it comes to Sagar,
That's
one of
okay.
the things I find interesting
The saga
about
continues.
him, the saga continues. But when he, talks about Israel, one of the things I like about him is that he does, I think, correctly point out that this was a campaign, the Trump campaign and administration that sort of promised, an end to forever wars or end to regime change. They were able to somehow steal that lane from the Democrats. So he's pointed out, of course, through the actions of Trump actually not being, a dove, but instead being a hawk, that this is inconsistent with this America First worldview. What are his thoughts, if you know, about the fact that now the America Firsters, including actual anti-Semites like Nick Fuentes, are being like, actually, this is, doing this to Venezuela is pretty based, actually. This is America First, technically, if you think about how we need the oil or whatever.
He's disgusted by it. We talked about it on the show today, and he was calling out all these people who are suddenly like Monroe Doctrine, the Monroe Doctrine. And he's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. You literally don't know what you're talking about. And we can all see your old posts where you were saying the exact opposite of what you're saying now. So somehow they're going with this argument of like, oh, it's Venezuela, it's not the Middle East. So this is totally different, guys. This time it's going to work out.
Well, but
so
what's
he
so
sees
interesting
through that very clearly.
What's interesting is actually there's the people who've been good on the Middle East have been, Marjorie Taylor Greene's statement about Venezuela.
I didn't know. Does she have a good statement about it?
She had a very good statement.
Oh, okay.
The only thing I would quibble with is, listen, you take what you can get, right? It's Republican, let's be clear. But she does the whole if you're really concerned about drugs, then maybe we should bomb Mexico. It's like, no.
Okay. I didn't see that.
But the rest of it was very good.
That part. I'll quibble.
And I do think, there are very few on the right that are actually good on Israel and have, align with some of the policy that we would like to see, who aren't genuinely anti-Semitic. And it's like libertarians and then people who have this principled realist view. So I feel very fortunate to work with one of those people because, I think you do see the danger and the allure of the Nick Fuentes types right now, who is just an out and out neo-Nazi, does not share our worldview at all, just starts from a completely different place of this ethnic sectarian, frankly, disgusting worldview. But when you have so little space to criticize Israel without being called an anti-Semite, it's no surprise that someone like that is going to rise in popularity because they're saying, look, we were right. Look, the Jews won't even let you tell the truth about what's going on here. Look at all the power that they have. And for a lot of people, that's going to ring true to them in this moment. And it's, that's one of the things that is deeply disturbing to me and that I've had to really think about. How do you deal with that when the term anti-Semitism has been so cheapened? And just, you say it and you already feel ridiculous because it just gets thrown around so much for such ridiculous things.
Yeah. And we're going to
I love it when my community works hard to live up to Nick Fuentes' expectations.
I know.
You see Miriam Adelson there with Trump and she's like, I'm going to give you $250 million more next time. So you're like, stop doing this, please.
Yes. I'm going to give you Jewish money because I control. And it's like, stop saying this. This is not good for us.
So you're one of these voices in the past 2 years that's just been unrelenting and unstinting in your language about this. You haven't pulled punches, and, we have mutual friends and colleagues who have paid with their jobs. Brianna Joy Gray lost her job at Rising over an eye roll. What's it been like for you in your ad hoc role as a counter Hezbollahist? Did you ever see this? Did your own reaction, the force of your reaction, your own willingness to step out on this, surprise you at all? Is this a role you ever saw yourself in? And what's it been? What have you dealt with? Can you give us some lowlights or highlights in terms of what you've had to face in the past couple of years?
I mean, I'm in a very fortunate position because no one can fire me, right? So, not to say I can't be canceled. Like, we rely on Spotify putting on our podcast and Apple and YouTube. And so you do have those worries. We also have faced, I don't know if we've said this publicly, but I'll tell you guys, GHF threatened to sue us. And, you know, you have to take those things seriously because
GHF is the fake humanitarian foundation that was set up by
if they really wanted to scare you
and shot a bunch of people looking to get food.
Exactly. I was going to say, if GHF really wanted to scare you, they'd threaten to cook you a meal.
Exactly.
Like, just come over for dinner. I'm like, wait a second.
The real threat is inviting you to a restaurant.
But yeah, I mean, you have to take it seriously because they have, you know, official U.S. government backing, official Israeli backing, even though they tried to act like they're this independent entity. Now they basically don't exist anymore. So I think we dodged that bullet, but literally, I guess. But you know, that for me, I feel like I can't imagine having done anything differently. You know, I mean, what? You've got people who are being murdered in their houses and their children starved to death, and I can't tell the truth about what I see happening. That would be like, I couldn't live with myself. I think the two most difficult things for me on a day-to-day basis, and again, this is like nothing in the grand scheme of the world and the struggles of people. I think everybody takes that for granted. But for one thing, my nature is to be very, like, you know, the teacher's pet, a student. So the liberal line of like, well, it's complicated and you just don't understand. That's a hard one for me because I'm like, well, maybe I don't know everything. Maybe I need to read 10 more books. Maybe there's something I'm missing here. Maybe I need to know all the history and I need to know what was said in this year and that year. And so, I mean, I did really make a concerted effort to educate myself as much as possible. But, like, you know, I'm never going to be as expert as a Norm Finkelstein or someone who's really just been steeped in this for their whole lives and, you know, has made this their academic career. So I had to give myself permission to not know everything and still be able to take a moral stance. So that was one piece that was difficult for me. And then, you know, I think just that sense of, okay, there are powerful people who don't like what we're doing. I mean, it does weigh on you to a certain extent.
Sure.
And then just the sense of responsibility to know all the ins and the outs of the horror every day also just does, I mean, it does take a toll. It's, as you guys, it's a difficult thing. And like, I hate to even say it because, again, it's so trivial in the grand scheme of things, but it definitely, you know, it was a dark year. It's been a dark, you know, more than 2 years at this point, and it continues to be incredibly dark. And, you know, in a sense, almost darker now that the world is turning their eyes away. It seems like, you know, I don't know. It seems like the project and the hope that was there at some point of like, we've got this resistance, we've got these protests, maybe something's going to be different. It's very hard to hold on to that at this point.
Yeah. No, I completely feel that, you know, on a very deep level. I think for me, the thing that I hold on to is the fact that I am seeing Israel as, or at least, you know, what Israel has been doing, the genocide they've been perpetrating on the Palestinians now is so prominent in the, you know, public discourse. It's now something that we all know that it's almost people's foray into anti-imperialist thought. And so now, you know, when I see people, you know, taking Venezuela, for example, and making the connection between imperialism, the imperialism of America going out and being like, we own this country, and saying that is connected in the exact same way as Israel saying, well, we own, you know, the Palestinians and they're, you know, we're going to run it for them. It's the one hope that I have is that you know, they may have accidentally made Americans by and large more and more anti-imperialist, which I think hopefully in the long term will have some, I don't know, good manifestations. But
you know what's interesting, Matt? I woke up this morning at a hotel in Hershey, Pennsylvania. I was on a road trip coming back I went to the Appalachians.
From the chocolate factory.
Yes, exactly. I was driving the Hershey Highway, so to speak. And On the television in the breakfast room. Forget I said that.
Moving on.
Moving on. In the breakfast room, the television was on, the morning news show. I left at about 6:45 to get home in time to podcast, and rest up a little bit. And there was a news item, the first story, and it was on ABC News, ABC local news. But
Sure.
First thing was about Venezuela with some quotes from Trump, and then a local story said, filmed in Harrisburg, which I believe is Pennsylvania's capital.
I don't know.
Of people on the street just protesting and holding signs that say down with U.S. imperialism, and very intelligent people being interviewed and connecting the dots exactly as you're saying, Matt, speaking very intelligently, speaking as if they had taken Noam Chomsky's self-applied course in intellectual self-defense that he always advocated Americans should take.
Right.
And I couldn't remember a time in the past 20 or 30 years where there was a spontaneous, immediate, woke in the real sense of the term woke, as in awake and aware, reaction that demands to be covered by the mainstream media. It's like since the war on terror started, that is either non-existent or just invisibilized. And yet it was there. It was right there on the news in front of me. So it was a kind of uncanny experience of like, oh, are Americans seeing through this? And are they at this point way ahead of their elected leaders, including the most so-called progressive among them?
Yeah. I absolutely think that is the case. At least, I mean, with young people, certainly with the Democratic Party base, absolutely. One thing that was striking to me is we've got some like snap polls now of how people feel about the Venezuela attack and kidnapping of Maduro. And the Washington Post one had it basically split, like 40% yes, 40% no, and the rest like, I'm not sure. And that is actually kind of amazing, given how much Americans usually fall overwhelmingly for the initial pro-war propaganda.
Yes.
How wall-to-wall, all of the cable nets were all in on it. And oh my God, our glorious military, and was this an incredible operation, blah, 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 and aren't they amazing, etc. And so to have that full force propaganda, war propaganda, wall-to-wall, and for people still to be like, I don't think so.
Yes.
I mean, that's very different. That is completely different from, I think, any time in our lifetimes.
Do you think that's because the narco-terrorism thing just doesn't get people as animated as like weapons of mass destruction? Are they being like, what are they trying to? They're trying to cut off my
with their propaganda now.
They're trying to cut off my cocaine supply. What?
Like the machine gun part was the funniest part to me. Yeah. They're like, and he had machine guns. They're like, wait,
he was in violation of a U.S. law where he couldn't have a machine gun. I was like, we have a law for that, first of all, and second of all,
and we enforce it in Venezuela.
Why
like
do we
what?
I love that.
Doing goofy dances too.
Yes, that was his real crime. No, we've downgraded from WMD to I think he had a machine gun. That's where we are with the propaganda. I mean, there's the learnings that the American people have taken over the past number of years, and Israel-Gaza being a very important part of that, quote unquote, heightening the contradictions, I guess, and really destroying this idea that America is some moral force. No, we're in for democracy, for human rights. Like, who could say that with a straight face at this point? Right. And in fact, Trump doesn't even try to say that. He just comes out, we're going to take their oil. That's what we're in it for, our own self-interest. Paul Singer is going to benefit. So we're going to go in, enjoy dying and waging war on behalf of Paul Singer getting more billions.
Did you see the press conference where Rubio and Trump are standing next to each other? And Rubio says, we gave him a chance to negotiate. He would not negotiate. And Trump just leans into the microphone and is like, he wanted to negotiate. I didn't want to negotiate with him. Enough. I wanted to kidnap him.
Incredible.
It's crazy. I mean, it's like you're watching someone who is completely immune to prosecution. You're watching someone who understands that there is no line that a lawyer can give him that he actually needs to say, because laws don't mean anything. So, it's almost refreshing, as opposed to seeing the sort of liberal hand-wringing of like, well, sure, Maduro needed to be taken out. Of course he did. But in this way, it just feels illegal. And, I'd much rather, deal with a person who is just so immune to prosecution that he's honest, about it.
I've thought a lot about that. I actually disagree. I think that's how it lands with the public is like, at least he's just being honest that they just want the oil. But the hypocrisy creates a political tool because then politicians can be shamed. You can demonstrate like, actually, this isn't about human rights and democracy. And it's a useful political constraint. Whereas if you can get away with what they got away with the complete genocide and ethnic cleansing in Gaza, then they're like, we can do anything and we don't even have to pretend. So,
No, I agree it's worse. I agree it's worse. I think what I'm coming from is
less
a place...
mewling and annoying. Yes.
Yeah, and a place of covering propagandists, and covering people who carry water, liberals especially, for things that they can't justify but are scrambling to justify, and watching someone just say what's actually happening. Yeah.
He kind of puts us out of a job, right? There's nothing for us to explain.
It gives me a break at the very least.
I would much rather...
the man he's telling you.
I would rather watch a monster do monstrous things than watch an android pretend to be human. Like someone like Karine Jean-Pierre or Joe Biden or, disturbing. The apologetics and the callousness in that. Yeah. Anyway, whatever. We've had this conversation a million times. But
one thing I wanted to make a parallel though with is, I think people now understand. They understand the power of the Israel lobby. They understand that there are Miriam Adelsons whose number one priority is like whatever Israel wants, Israel gets, that they have a lot of sway and influence, both because of their proximity to the president and to, the Democratic Party as well. And also
why can't Jews have agency, Krystal? That's right. What's wrong with that? We want things.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you're allowed to. It would be better if we didn't have this particular system. But in any case, there is a parallel structure for these South Florida neocons who are incredibly influential in this administration. I mean, Marco Rubio has 10 different titles. You've got Susie Wiles is also a Florida person. There's a number of this Florida contingent. Soccer calls it a Miami occupied government, which I think is pretty good. And they're big donors. I mean, I mentioned Paul Singer. Paul Singer is this MAGA donor billionaire who now one of his companies owns Citgo, which we stole from Venezuela. And he stands to benefit to the tune of, I don't know how much money from us, this attack on Venezuela and kidnapping Maduro. He stands to directly benefit. So in any case, there's a similar array of money and power when it comes to Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua, really any left-wing government in Latin America. And so sometimes I think when people look at actions with regard to Israel and feel like, okay, well, this is not rational, it doesn't serve American interests, they go, oh, well, the Israel lobby. And they need to think of this in the same way, where you can look at an action and be like, that doesn't even make sense to me. Why are you doing this? The oil thing doesn't even really fully add up because the infrastructure's all screwed up and the price per barrel and whatever. You have to understand that there are incredibly powerful and deeply ideological interests that are constantly pushing in this direction, which is also why you have some level of bipartisan complicity. I mean, a large level of bipartisan complicity in this direction.
Yeah.
It's like cronyism writ as large as you can writ.
Yeah, yes. and it's almost like this is more digestible. So the hope is that people can make this analysis on their own just by looking at it, as opposed to, when it comes to Israel and the Israel lobby, it can be a little bit less digestible to people because they have to, the why of it might be confusing. Whereas the why of why would United Fruit Company want to oust the elected Democratic leader of Guatemala? That is very simple to people. So the hope is that this will also be as simple. And that understanding it, I mean, beyond the freaking, I think the drug trafficking thing, one of the reasons that's not sticking, why, we're fighting narco-terrorism is because Americans, by and large, blame addicts for their own death. And so I think that they are, looking at this, a lot of them have enough analysis to blame the Sacklers and pharma companies for their role in the opioid crisis. But in general, I think most Americans are not kind when it comes to addiction. So, this is one of those rare cases where that might end up having at least one good effect, which is they don't buy the bullshit about narco-terrorism.
That's an interesting point. And I have noted that the Trump regime analysis in this almost has like a leftist flavor to it of like, completely absolving, treating addiction as a disease, like, oh, they had nothing to do with it. It's all these drug dealers who are pushing. But, obviously it falls short when it comes to the Sacklers who are, basically got a slap on the wrist. I don't know if you guys saw. Go ahead.
Oh, in Honduras, there was the narco, I believe it was the leader of Honduras who was recently pardoned by Trump.
Yes, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was actually a narco-terror. Yeah. Well, I mean, the term narco-terror, we got to not use this term because this is just a made-up, invented bullshit thing. Like, Kyle was like, what, they're going to do terrorism on behalf of cocaine? What are we talking about here? Like, this is not a thing.
Well, but the word terrorism itself was bullshit from the start. So
100%. Right. And never more clear than us, cozying up to the former terrorist who's now the head of Syria and like, hey, sure, he's good to go. He had a tough pass, but he's good to go.
I'm going to fly a needle directly into the World Trade Center and get it high.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyway, that dude that you're talking about.
I missed the vein.
The vein. The dude you're talking about, he legitimately was and convicted a drug trafficker. Yeah. And, he, though, allowed this weird Peter Thiel aligned Prospera crypto libertarian like feudal city to be built in Honduras. And when a new, more left-wing government came in, they were like, we don't want to just cede our sovereign territory to these tech oligarchs, freaks, and weirdos. And so that's, so they're stand to lose money. And also this is part of an ideological project for them. So I think that's part of why he's ultimately pardoned. I mean, the other thing I think that people just feel like with this, so we're going to bomb boats and we're going to take out Maduro, whatever, is does anyone really think that bombing anywhere is going to actually stop the flow of drugs? Like, I just don't think people are naive enough to believe at this point. We've been fighting the war on drugs for how many decades? Has the drug flow ever slowed down? Right. Not to mention, you could talk to Seth Harp, who wrote the great book about the Fort Bragg cartel. Yes. Yeah. How literally the special forces that are involved in taking out Maduro are some of the same guys who are like deeply implicated in some of the drug trafficking into this country. So in any case, I just don't think that people believe that this is actually going to change anything in terms of an addiction crisis. They don't buy it. And I mean, it's not like this administration has a lot of credibility with most of the American public outside of their own base at this point.
Right.
I don't know. You guys are both making some decent points, but I'm not finding it as persuasive as the clip of John Krasinski, lecturing, doing his version of the newsroom, lecturing a bunch of idiot college students about why.
Venezuela is the number one threat.
Is the low key the most underrated threat to the free world and why we need to go.
Shout out to John Krasinski playing Jack Ryan. We all love us some CIA written television.
Is there any other kind, really?
Is there any other kind? I only watch CIA productions.
CIA approved productions.
Yes, exactly. But moving on, we do need to take a quick commercial break. But when we come back, we will be talking about Zoran Mamdani. He is mayor now, and we need to talk about how that is problematic. But first, some ads. Everybody listen to them. If they're for ICE, again, don't join, and you can skip. You're allowed. We'll be right back. And we're back. This is Bad as Bar, the world's most moral podcast here, once again, with Krystal Ball. How you doing, Krystal?
Doing well.
Hell yeah. How are you feeling about the upcoming or now current Mamdani-induced caliphate happening in New York? Now, you're not in New York.
Sharia law.
That's right.
She's in D.C. She wants to see us fall apart up here in New York.
That's right. Well,
no, I'm a former New Yorker though, and it's honestly, to be honest, it's making me very nostalgic for New York. I have a lot of New York envy right now.
Yeah, same. I live in LA. Everything sucks here, and it's nice that New York is, having a moment. And people are freaking out about it. So today we're going to be talking about how Zoran, the now mayor of New York City. He is already reportedly implementing his pogroms against former Mayor Adams' legacy. He's canceled all of his executive orders after the date in which he was federally indicted. And of those executive orders, 3 are specifically coming under attack by the institutional Jewish community of New York for signs of anti-Semitism. So the 3 that they are mad about are one is the adoption of the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism. That was revoked. The ban on Israel boycott/divestment, that was revoked. And also the ban on protests happening near places of worship, that was revoked. He also, by the way, revoked an executive order banning horse-drawn carriages from the city. So I guess, okay. So those are back. And he also revoked the executive order.
That's going to make some people mad. A lot of people are very passionate about getting rid of those.
As someone who's not a New Yorker, I'm kind of like based when it comes to him unbanning that. Like, what, don't you want more horses? I want more horses.
Apparently, I actually, when I lived in New York, I covered this issue. It's the animals are, it's bad for them, basically. It's bad for the horses. So that's why there's always the horses, Adam's right. The horses are very badly abused as part of it. So that's why there's been a push. I could see him putting that one back. I don't know.
I like to believe that they like it. What horse
we'll just go with that, sure.
Yeah, horses like it. Again, all 9 of these orders that were revoked were all revoked specifically for happening after the date in which Adams was federally indicted. So this was just a sweeping revocation of these executive orders after that date. Because he also revoked the executive order that created the Office of Rodent Mitigation to fix the New York's rat problem, which was an initiative backed by the Genovese, Gambino, Lucchese, Colombo, and Bonanno families, I assume. We don't like rats, and snitches get stitches. But the headlines have mainly been about Mamdani's revocation of the IHRA adoption and the anti-BDS orders. And here is a little bit of local news explaining this. Once again, seeing local news that doesn't make me sad. I'll play the clip. This is just an honest telling of news. Here we go.
Pro-Israel groups are slamming Mayor Mamdani for revoking 2 executive orders by former Mayor Adams meant to support Israel. One of them barred city agencies from boycotting or divesting from Israel. The other adopted the International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance definition of anti-Semitism. It equates some forms of anti-Israel criticism with anti-Semitism. Now, these executive orders are 2 of 9 that Mamdani revoked because they came after Adams was indicted on federal corruption charges.
So, I mean, first of all, I love that news item started with pro-Israel groups are slamming. Yep. Usually you don't see that kind of distinction.
Say Jewish groups.
They would say Jewish groups, Jewish institutions, or groups that are dedicated to fighting anti-Semitism are slamming, but instead pro-Israel, which is very important as a distinction. And
I also appreciated that report because it clarified for me that IHRA stands for International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. I thought it had something to do with either human rights or human resources.
Yeah. International Human Resources Association.
Yeah, because it is an HR thing,
That's true. I mean, it does make some sense. So I see how you got there.
Yeah. And it's interesting that Mamdani, the wrath that he's been facing is, of course, being overblown. It is being framed by Twitter and anyone on social media, all of the usual suspects that we cover on the show, the Hasbars, who are all saying, wow, you've pissed off every single Jew in New York with this. He has been, facing the wrath of a bunch of the Jewish institutional community who, at this point, we've covered on this show extensively, have pivoted to just pro-Israel advocacy. That is what they do.
I'm sorry, I can't let you get away with that.
Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Saying the phrase Jewish institutions or Jewish institutional community is a blood libel?
That's right. I'm sorry. I'll go back to the Zionist organized government institutions that we that we cover regularly on this
that we
program.
live under happily.
So
puppet masters.
The puppet masters, yes. This octopus holding globe type thing that, I forget. Well, I'll have to ask the International Human Rights
Metallica's Master of
Association.
Puppets actually was about the ADL.
Oh, didn't know that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Zoran also deleted some tweets, and a lot of these institutions were slamming him for that.
So he was deleting New York City mayor account tweets.
That's right.
Which is good because otherwise it's very confusing. You look at, because now his handle or his name, his username is now at the top of that same account. And when you, am I correct that when you go back and look at
yes, it would say things like,
it would say like,
"Hi, I sure love Israel the most," and people were like, "Damn."
Gotcha. Yeah.
Gotcha, dude. Now I got receipts. So, I mean, I don't believe he was deleting it for reasons of people making bad faith receipts, but I'd like to believe that.
It's like inverse dead naming.
Yes. People were saying that what he was doing was against the law because you're legally not allowed to do that, which is untrue if these are archived. Now, of course, all of these tweets had been archived, and he, in wanting to continue this trend of revoking the executive orders, also wanted to revoke the tweets of a guy who was indicted.
Yeah, they'll all be displayed in the Eric Adams Memorial. Wouldn't be a library. What would it be? Bodega?
A booth at a VIP booth at a club. The memorial VIP booth.
Which country was it? Turkey that he
That's right.
took a bunch of money from. So maybe
exactly. It's the. I love that. The Eric Adams Memorial Istanbul Terminal. So he, in response to, the deleted tweets and all of the executive order revocations, a joint statement was released by the AJC, the Jewish Community Relations Council, the ADL, the UJA, LMU, USC, MGMT, PPO, NZOG, the good one, not the bad one. They all...
So basically the Gambino family, the
Bonanos, the Lucchese's. Yes. They all released a joint statement, which I'll read for you guys right now. At least I'll read some of it. Mayor Mamdani pledged to build an inclusive New York and combat all forms of hate, including anti-Semitism. But when the new administration hit reset on many of Mayor Adams' executive orders, it reversed two significant protections against anti-Semitism: the city's adoption of the IHRA and critical protections against the BDS movement against Israel. To which someone quote tweeted this by saying, "Do you have any idea how bad your policy has to be to make all these Jewish organizations agree on a statement?" Come on, at this point, what? Oh, yeah, it's very difficult. You can get them to all agree that Palestinians are not human. Yeah, I think you can get them to agree on a statement. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Jews are so bad at rhythm. Do you know how offensive your statement has to be to make them march in lockstep?
Yeah. You know what they say? 2 Jews, 3 opinions, unless the question is Israel, in which case they all agree together at the same time.
In case it's no opinion. In that case, it's no opinions. It's
no
2
opinion.
Jews and a whole bunch of facts.
That's right. And facts on my side. But
right.
I mean,
at least the Jews that, really count as Jews. Guys like you, not that doesn't matter.
Yeah. Of course. Well, the Jews that disagree are not really Jews. Everyone knows that.
Obvious.
Yeah, I saw. This is a side note, but I saw a video of what is it? Nutra Carta, the
Natura Carta.
Natura Carta. There's a video of one of
Nutra Carta is their little blender for smoothies.
Right.
Okay. All right.
I saw one of them. There was a video online where they were talking about anti-Zionism, talking about not adopting the IHRA definition because it's bad for everyone and it's bad for Jews of conscience and whatnot. And there was a bunch of Zionists in the comments who were going, "You are not Jewish. You do not become Jewish just because you wear a hat. That hat is fake." And because this guy's Hasidic. And I was just like, what are we doing now? We're looking at a Hasidic Jew who's got a literal Yiddish accent and going, you are not real Jew.
Not Jewish enough.
Yes.
Zionists are out there trying to rip off the beards
right.
of Brooklyn rabbis, trying to prove that they're fake.
Yes, exactly. So, this is, of course, focused on these two very particular revocations. And I realized we hadn't talked much about the IHRA working definition of anti-Semitism. And we need to correct that because people need to know why this is bad.
It's called a working definition. Working on what?
Just working on it, dude.
Like a working definition is like until we come up with a better one.
I mean, it's like Missy Elliott said. Is it worth it? Let me work it.
I think that I saw that someone who was involved in the creation of this definition of anti-Semitism has come out and said we didn't really mean for it to be applied in this way.
Yes.
But I mean the whole idea, of course, is that you create this incredibly broad definition that sweeps in any sort of Israel criticism. Mm-hmm. And then you get to say officially, now you have this official backing that anti-Israel criticism is anti-Semitism. And
That's right.
I mean, the incredible thing, Zoran winning in New York City is just, you cannot possibly wrap your head around what a big deal it is.
Yeah.
Because it's the one place that people would have said, absolutely not. Someone who's avowed anti-Zionist, who's, down with the BDS movement, all these things. There is no way, maybe somewhere else in America, but not in New York City. And so he's just opened up this incredible realm of possibilities. Now you've got Cameron Kasky, who's running in a district that's like the Upper West Side and the Upper East Side.
Oh, no, but the Zionists owned him, Krystal. They owned him because he
Oh,
was
yes,
filmed at Tel Aviv airport.
Yeah, that's right.
He talks all this shit about Israel, and then he goes there, presumably hanging out in nightclubs and enjoying he went to the West Bank directly and was meeting with Palestinians. And then someone, I think Blake Flayton or one of these fuckers, was like, oh yeah, you go to the West Bank and you tour and you look at the Palestinians as if they're zoo animals and you uncritically adopt their narrative. And I'm thinking that's my favorite thing to do at the zoo is just uncritically adopt the animal's narrative. On the one hand, calling Palestinians animals and trying to position yourself as some kind of PETA activist, be like, you leave those Palestinians alone. They just freaked out. They couldn't deal with Kasky there.
It's also, there's something about that the image of your country is so bad that it's an own that someone's going to be wrecked if they get caught visiting there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was just starting there, even before, we learned, which no surprise, Jasper Nathaniel helped him organize this to go and actually see for himself. Because Cam has been an incredibly courageous voice and has really been trying to go as deep as he possibly can. So, but to have him running in that district and have a shot at it, it has become.
Remind me where he's running?
He's running in the district that Jerry Nadler is retiring from.
Okay.
So I believe it's Upper West Side, Upper East Side, and then some of below Central Park there. And it's a district. I think Cuomo won it. I'm not 100% sure. I think it was pretty close between Cuomo and Zoran there. But right now in the polls, he's got a shot at this thing. And the point is that in these Democratic primaries, this has become such an important litmus test issue because it just stands in for do you have a soul? Are you willing to stand on principle on anything? And it's crazy to me how many people just fail that in basic human test.
The easiest test in the world, a test that you would only fail if you were somehow compromised in your own morality and in your careerism, you're just,
yeah, that's right.
It says one thing. It says that you value your career over human life. And I don't think people like that. And at least I hope they don't.
That's been my impression. Yeah.
Yeah. But this IHRA definition is interesting because it's kind of one of the things his bars try to do is try to retcon Jewish history and the history of anti-Semitism. So when this definition, is being lauded as like the only definition, people try to pretend as if it's like always been around. It's been around forever. How dare you?
To them 3,000 years ago.
Right. It was exactly this definition has been promised 3,000 years ago. And of course, this is not the case. One of the many reasons why this is bad is because the working definition of anti-Semitism that they created is essentially merely a framework that was used in order to define anti-Semitism for the sake of statistics and data collection, specifically trying to say, like, well, there are instances. This was made in the early 2000s, and it was saying, well, there are instances of anti-Semitism in which the reason for it was Israel-based. Like, you can't just say, well, if someone says, oh, I did this because of Israel, I did this crime because of Israel, that it is necessarily not anti-Semitism.
So you can't rule it out. So this is one place where you might want to look and investigate, not ipso facto equation, this equals that. Is that what you're saying?
But very specifically about data collection, not about legislation, not about being adopted by governments and legal bodies. So that is the issue with it. So just one of the many points that it makes regarding this definition, one that I think a lot of us take issue with, like for the first few points of what is anti-Semitism is things that are kind of the classic anti-Semitism of conspiracy theories, stereotypes, accusing Jews as people of being responsible for real or imagined wrongdoings committed by a single Jewish person. Basically the same definition as racism or bigotry for any ethnic group. What ends up happening is after a few of these, saying, yeah, this is for the old timers, the old heads remember these guys, then the rest of the definition has to do with Israel, and it conflates anti-Israel sentiment with anti-Semitism.
Can you go back to the first slide just for a second?
Yeah, sure.
The last one there, accusing the Jews as a people or Israel as a state of inventing or exaggerating the Holocaust. Inventing, exaggerating. Okay, good. I don't see exploiting.
Yeah.
I don't see exploiting.
Yes.
I don't see bastardizing. I don't see
cheapening.
Yes.
Good, great. We're on solid ground.
But then, we start getting into things like denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination, e.g. by claiming that the existence of a state of Israel is a racist endeavor.
Hold on a fucking second. That e.g. is doing a lot of heavy lifting, because nowhere in claiming, or I would say pointing out or making the strong case that the existence of a state of Israel. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
By claiming that it's an indefinite article. It's not the existence of the state of Israel or just no, we're talking about the state of Israel, fuckers.
Right.
There is no a state of Israel. There's no theoretical state of Israel. There's the one that exists, the one whose existence was predicated on a racist cleansing of land of certain ethnicities and groups. But then to equate the existence of a or the state of Israel is a racist endeavor with denying the Jewish people their right to self-determination? Hell no. There were a lot of so-called cultural Zionists before the state of Israel who were like, yeah, right to self-determination. Absolutely. And our right to self-determination ends where other people's existence on this land and humanity begins. And that's so we're going to have to find something other than a racist, ethno-tribalist, nationalist, militarized state.
Right. I mean, what's crazy about this to me also, this example is specifically like, it is actually illegal for you to call me racist. like the fact that being called racist is the example that they use in a definition that they're trying to define of racism. They're trying to say this is so essentially they have a I am rubber, you are glue clause in their definition of anti-Semitism.
I mean, it's kind of perfect, though, especially for the right-wingers that embrace this view, who 5 seconds ago were like, that you can't call us racist and you guys with your wokeness and your safe spaces or whatever. And then the second it comes to Israel, when it comes to, quote unquote anti-Semitism, then they need the safe spaces. They need the affirmative action.
Everyone's
they need
woke.
Speech codes.
Yes,
Yeah.
everyone becomes woke.
There was some Zionist, I think billionaire went on CNBC and was just like, this whole First Amendment thing. I'm sorry, guys. We gotta deal with this. This is not gonna work out.
Listen, I know we were gonna maybe save this, but we gotta watch that. I'm sorry, you brought it up.
Big cyber company. Shlomo, it's great to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. AI is going to revolutionize cyber warfare, is revolutionizing cyber warfare from critical infrastructure to the fabric of society and politics and undermining it, giving unfair advantage to authoritarian governments against democratic countries. First Amendment type of...
That's already happening?
Right, two
that's
things.
already happening. You're seeing the...
Hold on. This guy's name is Shlomo Kramer.
Yeah.
I didn't know that Cosmo had an Israeli cousin.
Very good.
And number two, there's something about this level of thick Zionist Israeli accent where when you hear the word democratic, it just sounds like a joke. Like it sounds like it's in air quotes. Like I just can't, it just doesn't sound like it refers to anything real.
It's a weirdly hard K in the middle of there.
Yeah, democratic.
Yeah.
Polarization in countries that allow for the First Amendment and protect it, which is great. And I know it's difficult to hear, but it's time to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it. And quickly before it's too late.
What do you mean?
I mean that we need to control the platforms, all the social platforms. We need to stack rank the authenticity of every person that expresses themselves on.
We just have
so
to
much
torture
worse than
it a
I
little
remembered.
for its own good. Adam says
We need
have
to
torture it.
control the platforms, he said. And I can't understand why anti-Semitism is spiking worldwide.
I can't understand why Nick Fuentes is now a freaking millionaire who gets to put his views on every major platform. Like, it just pisses me off so much. This is not to mention actually saying out loud the phrase, we have to limit the First Amendment in order to protect it, is just...
The First Amendment's mom and dad sit it down on its... honey, sit down. Sit down, sweetie. Well, you're getting to be a big girl now, and your body's changing, and it's rounding out. And
God.
And some people are gonna look at it and
what are we doing?
We need... So your curfew now is 3 p.m.
Like, just putting himself as the arbiter of what limits need to happen on the First Amendment, and starting with, I know it's hard to hear. Your baby ears can't take it, but you have to understand. You're not allowed to talk like this. Also, we need to limit it in order to protect it. It's just very much Seinfeld.
Incredible. I like how even the CNBC lady is like, wait, what? What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
We need to control all the platforms. That's all.
Yeah.
That's again, like, you're taking our jobs away from us. We don't have to explain or analyze anything. It's just listen to what he says.
We in Israel have been... are innovators in nanotechnology. We can shrink things. We can make, the tomato, yes? We can make a cherry First Amendment. A miniature version. Bite size. Not too much free speech. No juices all over your chin.
Yes.
Just you pop it in your mouth and it's gone.
Oh my God.
Incredible.
A cherry First Amendment.
And do we know, is this guy Israeli American or is just Israeli?
I don't know.
It's so wild to me to imagine like going on in another country and be like, let me tell you about your constitution. Like these rights you've got, this is really not working out for me personally. So we need to look
as a
into
billionaire from a country that does not have a constitution. Here's what's wrong with yours.
Let me
yours
tell
is
you,
a little unrestricted. Maybe you guys, have you thought about not having one? We do
Coming
that,
from
and
the
we're
only
doing great.
democracy in the Middle East,
That's right.
He's got the position to tell us about this.
I understand you have your founding, how you say, fathers. My founding fathers are Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. The real OGs.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, just circling back to the IHRA definition, I mean, this is a definition that in and of itself is, when adopted by governments and localities and municipalities, ends up criminalizing speech to an absurd degree. It is not a definition that should be taken as like, oh, that's the way it's always been perceived. It has not always been. This is not meant to be legislated upon. And I know this because, as you said, Krystal, the loudest voice opposing the adoption of the IHRA into law is the guy who wrote the damn framework, Kenneth Stern. He was the lead drafter of it. And he explains why in this clip that I got. This is from the Christian Amanpour show. Here we go.
A case that's really instructive is what happened in Germany when the IRA definition was used to basically classify.
They call it the IRA definition.
Yeah,
as if it needed to sound more Jewish boomer.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, George's definition is different than Ira's.
IRA, come here. Your definition's on the news.
We have both definitions named by different Gershwin brothers. All right, here we go.
Opposing the war in Gaza, calling them anti-Semitic. And one of the things that a person commenting on it said, isn't it ironic that Germany has again decided what it means to be Jewish, what it means to have a Jewish position? And I don't want Congress deciding that here either, and I don't want administrations deciding that.
So, I mean, this is someone who is, goes on the show, and he's been on a couple times. He is a self-proclaimed, two-state solutionist, Zionist and whatnot, and was the lead drafter of this working definition and is saying, no, this is not meant to be used by states. This is not meant to be used by people in government. And he understands what I think the Shlomo, which is that his name, the guy that we played the clip of, Shlomo doesn't understand, which is that free speech does matter to people in the United States. It's
a rather important part of American self-concept.
Right.
It's a pretty sturdy plank of the American identity, actually.
Might be the only one that I would say most people agree with, at least on some level. And so it's the idea of using the law in order to criminalize the speech of the mayor who just got elected, I think is ridiculous to most people.
I mean, it just feels very desperate at this point as well. Like, they can see, I mean, the Democratic Party put the elected officials aside, but the base of the Democratic Party is gone. I mean, they'll never look at Israel the same way. They will never be behind shipping weapons to Israel. Like, they're done, right? Mm-hmm. And I think it will be a very important issue in 2028. Independents, largely the same thing, and younger Republicans too. Mm-hmm. So because of that sense of like, oh, we're really, the Hasbara is really not working for us anymore. It's like, okay, well, what do we have to do? We have to crack down more. We have to put TikTok in the hands of an aligned billionaire. We better get that same family to get CBS. And, we've got to make this whole thing and install Barry Weiss. And we really have to lock this down because this isn't going well. But, I think it's far too late at this point.
Yeah, completely. It is, shocking to see, a Muslim mayor of New York be so openly anti-Semitic. But I think that we can hope that the Jewish institutional community can band together and make sure that he readopts that definition so that they can then prosecute him.
The puppet masters have to get to work, I guess.
That's right.
They're slacking.
Hey, and someone's got to pick up the slack on those strings.
And when they arrest him, he and Maduro can do cute dances together. Think about what they've done.
Before we end the podcast, there's one more thing we need to talk about. Krystal, can you stick around for just a little bit longer?
Sure, no problem.
So we have a segment that we like to do here about AI. Ladies and gentlemen, it's 2026, and here is our first segment of the year of Am Israel AI. Picture of a lion with an Israeli flag. and a picture of Hamas as an octopus or a bug. I'm Israel, hi. I'm Israel, hi. I'm Israel, AI. Israel, AI. Love it. Love it.
We're back, baby.
We're back. Daniel, you had something that
I came upon something, and have you managed to not watch it? Or
I have not. I have not watched
good for
it
you
at all.
Good boy, chick. I'm glad.
Thank you.
It's worth it. So, Krystal, are you much of a reader? Do you like books?
I do.
Okay, great. You ever heard of a little book called The Bible?
I'm vaguely familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Great. Well, it's very old, and it's got a lot of great characters in it. And I didn't know this, but all of them are 21st century Zionists who can really talk their shit.
Look at that.
Came across this video featuring a number of them being interviewed about their views. Maybe we can just take a look at it.
Let's do it.
And see what they have to say.
Boycott Israel? I literally started this family.
This is
You're
Abraham.
late by 4,000 years.
Boycott Israel?
Rachel.
Sweetheart,
Oh my
I
god.
birth tribes. You birth conspiracy posts.
Boycott Israel?
Isaac.
I was almost sacrificed and still
Sorry. I was hoping it would be like, my dad almost stabbed me.
had better odds than your argument.
Ah.
Boycott Israel?
Jonah.
I survived a fish.
It's not a fish.
A whale is not a fish. I'm sorry. Well, maybe we're being pedantic here, but come
You
on.
won't survive basic history.
You haven't survived basic biology.
You want to boycott Israel?
Joseph.
I checked your future. The dream says, stop talking, learn history.
Boycott Israel?
Queen
Honey,
Esther.
I have stopped genocides.
Okay, hold on.
Wait.
Time out. That's Queen Esther, folks, of the Purim story. The Purim story, which concludes with the following verses. And yea, on Thursday, the Hebrews did slay, rape, behead, and skullfuck the people of blah, blah, blah. 40,000 of them perished that day. And then the Hebrews feasted and banqueted. And yea, on Friday, they did the same thing to 27,000.
I love saying, like, I've ended genocides. It's like, if you do a genocide, you don't get the credit for stopping.
That's the idea. That's like the idea that if like savings makes you money. Like if you go shopping and it's like, oh, but I saved 5%.
That's right. Yes.
Scare me.
You say boycott Israel?
Jacob.
I wrestled angels. Your boycott has zero grip.
Boycotting Israel?
King Solomon.
Ah, yes. The wisdom of fools never ceases.
Wow.
Oh man.
Oh.
Who is this for?
I don't.
Who
Well,
is
I was
this
thinking.
for?
I was thinking about that. This is internal hasbara. This is morale. This is a pep rally.
Yes.
This is just for Jews to feel like, yeah. And very,
Christian
very
Zionists
corny
as well.
Christian Zionists too.
Yes.
That's good point.
Yeah. They care more, I think, about like liturgy than Zion. There's a lot of like Jewish Zionists who pretend that they give a shit, but they not as much as the Christians love that shit. Everything is fan fiction to them.
You're so right. You're so right. That's exactly who is targeted with this, isn't it?
And Adam says Facebook boomer moms too, which
which there's a heavy overlap between those demographics. So
People
that does track too.
People who like that video and people who like when Jesus was made out of shrimp or whatever. They love the AI.
Now, I do have a boomer mom who's on Facebook a lot, but we're not talking about you, Mom.
She's cool.
She's cool. She was at the Bat Hasbara live show.
That's right.
In New York.
Nice.
She's cool with us. Now, I feel like this video, frankly, could have gone deeper. There's a lot more characters who would have a lot to say, and I found some passages in the Hebrew Bible that suggest to me what other characters might think. I just want to read some of them, starting with the very first human character in the Bible. He would say, "I'm Adam. I've been around since the very first book of the Bible. You tell me you're against genocide? Good for you. Me, I'm on Genesis' side."
I see what you did there. I like that.
All right, here's another one. I'm Cain. I slew my brother Abel in a jealous rage. Imagine what I would have done to that fucker if he tried to boycott Israel. This is optional. I would have gone all Old Testament on his ass. Get it? Old Testament. Very good, Daniel.
Yeah, thank you.
Krystal, you do
Krystal,
Noah.
you want to give us Noah?
Here we go. Yeah, I got you. I'm Noah. I was shamed by my son Ham for exposing myself while drunk. And you want me to be upset about some soldiers posing in their victims' lingerie? Grow up.
You know, I got to be honest with you. I don't think I know that much lore about Noah. That's a new one.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware of that either.
He cursed his son Ham's lineage he was
for
like,
shaming him because he was
he was drunk in his tent. Yeah,
Noah was drunk or Ham was drunk?
Noah was drunk and Ham came upon him. I think he was exposing himself to his own daughters, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
what the
boy.
fuck?
Okay.
Yeah, he was. Look, he'd had a hard day, right, with all that hickory bark.
Yeah,
building that fucking thing.
This is pre-arc Noah, right?
I think it's pre-arc or it's in the midst of the making it. I'm not sure.
Okay.
There's a Canadian novel called Not Wanted on the Voyage by Timothy Findley, which fictionalizes it and tells the story of this dysfunctional family. It's a very, very great book. Yeah. Anyway, we have some more here. I will read this one.
Mm-hmm.
And then, Matt, you can do the one after. Just a
Sure.
second. Sorry for all the delays. I'm Job. I was a good and pious man whom God made suffer bitterly just to prove a point. But then I was rewarded with riches because I never once cursed the name of the powerful force inflicting all this on me. Gazans, take note. Silence is golden.
See, this is why you don't need AI. All you need is a sick fuck like Daniel Mate.
A little bit of human ingenuity and psychopathy.
That's right. Just mix them all together. And
you have to have a certain working knowledge of the Israeli mentality.
That's right.
Matt, this one's just for you.
All right. I'm Amnon. Come on, bro.
He did.
I sexually assaulted my half-sister Tamar. And you want me to talk about Stai Teman? Yiddle, please. Oof, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Let's get one more in.
Oh, I've got so many more. Hold on.
Oh, my God.
Krystal, go.
Okay. I'm Sarah. You heard that I made my husband cast his second wife, Hagar, and son Ishmael into exile because I was envious of her fertility. Whatever, bitch. It worked out. God made my desert bloom.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Can I read one more just to
Please,
All right,
please.
let me pick
it's
my
your
favorite.
podcast.
I'm Samson. My lover Delilah snitched on me and cut off my hair so my Philistinian enemies could imprison and torture me. So yeah, I kind of know what it's like dealing with you as a Jews.
Yeah.
And then finally, we're the Israelites. We danced around the golden calf in a fit of wild idolatry, breaking God's most fundamental commandments. And you know what? We will dance again.
Oh,
no. Wow. You stuck the shit out of that landing.
That was the right one to end on.
Oh my God, that was good. You know, I love that. I love to contrast just the sloppiest AI slop ever with someone who actually writes words with their brain.
Oh, thanks.
Maybe it's something we could all learn. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is our podcast. First one for 2026. Krystal Ball, thank you so much for coming on and talking with us.
Thank you for having me, guys. I enjoyed it.
I had a great time. And where can people find you, find your work, subscribe to your show?
Breakingpoints.com and on Substack for Krystal Kyle and friends. And then I'm usually, rotting my brain over on Twitter at Krystal Ball. So feel free to join me there.
That's where I live too. It's hell. Every day worse than the next. Krystal, it is not hell talking to you. Thank you so much for coming on. Come back anytime. And thank you to all of you out there for watching and subscribing, liking, sharing. Do all those things. Subscribe, hit the bell. Patreon.com/badasbara, badasbara@gmail.com for all your questions, comments, and concerns. All right, everyone. Thanks again for listening. And until next time, from the river to the sea.
Just wait till we get to Deuteronomy.
Wow. Wow.
Jumping jacks was us. Push-ups was us. Krav Maga us. All karate us. Taking Molly